Hey there everybody, this is Boodog Winches and we're going to show you how to set up our new winch system. This portion of the winch setup should be pretty familiar to everybody. Find a good place to put your first pulley up and walk your line out. Now things get a little bit more complicated as we start to incorporate more lines, more pulleys, and more directions of winching. So I'm going to bring up a really crude MS Paint document and show you guys kind of what the setup looks like and how this works. If you noticed in the first clip there, I was pulling out a piece of yellow rope. You can see that here in the diagram. And what we're going to do is go straight from the winch to our first top pulley. Then we're going to cross our body of water, put up another pulley, and bring it all the way back to the starting position. At that point, we'll incorporate our second piece of line, our leader, and our handle. This will allow us to use both of those lines to move the rider from one direction to the other. You're only typically ever using one pulley and one rope at a time to move the rider, and that's why we'll be able to do this with a winch instead of a full cable. Okay, so here we are crossing the water, taking our ladder with us, and just kind of getting a feel for exactly which way we are orienting this line and making sure that we are going to set this up off the ladder in the appropriate direction to make sure we don't get a twist in the line or that we have anything obstructing the line's place of travel. You can see what we're using to set this up with here. We're using regular webbing from a climbing store, a regular climbing style carabiner with a locking lever, and an emergency grade pulley from Petzl with a 5,000 pound payload. After we get the line into the second pulley, we're going to bring it back over to the starting position where the rider would actually take off in the water and hang out while we go to the winch and bring the second line, manually unspooling it and bringing it over to meet the yellow line that we brought back from the other side of the water. Okay, now all we have to do is put that blue line through its pulley, then connect it to the carabiner that attaches the wake handle and the leader to both of the lines themselves. Then it's just a matter of tightening up the lines themselves by scooting the winch backwards and using a ratchet strap to remove all the slack out of both of the lines. Now that we have all the lines where we want them, all the slack out of the lines, all the pulleys oriented correctly, the lines are out of the way of the rider's area, and we have the winch anchored, we are ready to start pulling. By pulling in the yellow line, we will be releasing the blue line off of the spool because they are both on the same axle. So as the rider travels to the far side pulley, the blue line is following with them. Then whenever the rider reaches the other side of the bank, you just change direction on the spool and pull the blue line in, and the yellow line will follow the rider again, turning it into a multi-direction winch that operates very similar to some of the cable parks. I hope this adds a little bit of clarity to how we're making a winch a multi-direction towing device. You don't necessarily need aluminum towers and steel cable and 220 volts to pull a rider two different directions. The obvious advantage of using an electric motor and controller is that you are able to get forward and reverse off the same motor, whereas you'd need a transmission to do that with a gas winch. I guess that's about it. Keep up with us on Facebook and Instagram to see when we launch this thing for production, and if you have any questions, please hit us up at boodogwinches@gmail.com. Thanks. Have a good day on the water.